So, welcome everyone to From the Cosmic Library to the Page. This is Trevor's book launch, and it's a very special day. And I have a graphic to share with you really quick, um, just so you can see it, because it's a very special day. Happy birthday, Trevor! We
Thank
are
you.
Happy
so proud of
birthday!
you. We're so proud of you. And we're
Happy
honored and delighted to be
birthday.
part of your book launch.
Happy
And
birthday.
so, from everyone here, just to you, we hold you, we admire you, we're proud of you, and we've got you. So, everybody give us a hip hip hooray for Trevor. Hip hip hooray!
Hooray!
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! All right.
Woo!
I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to turn this all over to Trevor Hodgson, our newest author, and so happy to hear you.
Once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate everything that this group does for me and all the people that join it and help me out. This is my community. When I started the presentation, I thought, how do I go about explaining how I got to an author? And it took on a life of its own. So I have a 3 parts video that's going to explain it. And so I'll just jump right into the video because it runs a little bit longer than I intended because I had so much fun with it and it just took a life of its own. So this is my journey to becoming an author.
It all starts with an idea. If you plant that idea and let it grow wild, it will grow into concepts, stories, and words manifested as art, writing, and philosophy. Join me in my garden of ideas, where A Round Rockville was born. A presentation by Whatever Trevor. Welcome to Writing a Draft. From the Cosmic Library to the Page, supported by Global Heart Healing, it is my pleasure to share with you my journey to becoming an author. It all started with this funny little book I found. Check out this book I found in the Cosmic Library. It's called The Adventure Game of Life. TAGL. TAGL. Player's Manual. Game Objective. The Adventure Game of Life, TAGL, is being played by all of us. It is a massive, real-time, dynamic, global, multiplayer game, an MRDGMG. In TAGL, your mission is to find your way through an invisible maze that constantly changes. You will be given a set of navigational tools that have no instructions. A storm of hardship is chasing you. Use your navigational tools to make your way through the invisible maze without being swallowed up by the storm. The goal of the single-player component is to reach unity. Once we have all reached the point of unity, the second phase begins. We co-create the world deliberately. When I started thinking about how to present my journey to becoming an author, I thought it would be interesting to draw a map. I planted that seed in my garden, and what grew was the idea for the Adventure Game of Life. TAGL. TAGL. Using the TAGL framework, I can draw a map, show the navigation tools I use to explore my maze, and explain the keys I collected while wandering. This is probably not what you were expecting, but hopefully by the end it will all make sense. TAGL Gameplay. The Maze. Players must navigate an invisible maze of ever-changing pathways, influenced by internal, external, and unseen forces. Players should make a map. There are many paths to the same destinations. Mazes are dynamic, shifting with choice, circumstance, and chronology. A path can open, close, dead end, or reopen at random. Circumstances beyond your control can suddenly end a path you are on.
Players may share their maps. It may or may not help. Paths and destinations are not available to all players. Each player's maze is unique. Good luck!
Alright, I see that. That's where I took that wrong turn, right there. Okay.
The navigation tools. Players start TAGL with 3 navigation tools. A compass that points in the correct direction. A guide that texts disappearing directions. In hindsight, it texts, "I told you so." A position sensor that tracks the storm. Special navigation tools are hidden inside. These special navigation tools require skill development. Each player has an ultimate navigation tool that can create pathways in the maze.
No wonder. I've been reading this thing upside down the whole time. All right.
The keys. Keys are hidden everywhere in the maze. Doors may require many keys to open. Different key combinations will open different doors for different players. Special keys can teleport players out of trouble. 2 special keys open up unknown pathways and show the way. Players may share copies of their keys, but will they work? Beware of broken, faulty, and useless keys.
What did I do with that rich and famous key? I know I picked one up.
The storm. A powerful, mysterious storm is chasing you. The storm wants you to move. The storm will not slow down. It will slam into you. If you cannot keep up, you will be left behind. Losing the storm makes movement difficult and slow. Necessity will lead you into paths that will end. The storm will come for you.
Well, that explains a lot.
Unsolicited advice. Stay in front of the storm. Listen to your guide. It is your best chance. Alternative paths can be fun and educational. Check for keys and secret exits. All hope is never lost. There's always a way back to your best path. Learn to stay in front of the storm. Reach the unity point. Remember to have fun! Disclaimer. The TAGL Player's Manual is for informational purposes only and may be incomplete, inaccurate, or incompatible with your maze, navigation tools, keys, and/or storm. Results may vary. Let the adventure begin!
Yeah, I know this game. You might know this game too. The adventure game of life. TAGL. Have yourself a wonderful TAGL day. Let the adventures begin.
That's part 1. I don't know if that looks familiar to anybody, but if you like, I can find a tutorial and we can dive deeper into the TAGL structure. Are you up for that? Give me some thumbs up.
We are here along for the ride. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead, Captain.
Welcome to class. I'm Professor Hodgson. Hodgson. But you can call me Trevor. I have been accredited by the Cosmic Library to present to you a tutorial for the adventure game of life. TAGL. TAGL. I have a super exciting lesson planned. Today, we're going to examine the framework of TAGL. I love this game. TAGL is the most fun game I've ever played. You're going to love it. Trev, did you do the reading? What? Oh yeah, just a second. And yeah, I read it. All right, Trev. Do you want to read the game objective? Uh, I just did that, dude. I meant, oh, never mind. What do you think about the game objective? All right, it tells me I'm playing Taggle with a bunch of other players, but I'm in it for myself until I figure it out. Then, once we know how to play individually, we all move into unity and play the next level together. Excellent. That's a really good answer, Trev. You're absolutely right. We start in the same world, but we're all alone until we unify and start the next level together. But how do we unify? Well, that's the fun part. We unify by playing the game, which brings us to the Tangle gameplay. First part, the maze. Whatever, Trevor, are you paying attention? Of course I am. Well then, maybe you can explain the first part of the gameplay, the maze. Sure, whatever, man. What it's saying is that we're playing on our own path. We cannot see that path, but it's there. And there are many paths we can follow. Pathways are unreliable, unnecessary, and unpredictable. And then it says we're all wandering around different mazes, but we can try and help each other. Well, look at that. You were paying attention. That is a superb answer. You left out one thing. What is the value of making a map? Even if the maze changes, drawing a map will give me a basic reference to where I've been and where I am. That would help me find my way around and avoid going down dead ends or pathways I've already traveled. It would also mark locked areas that I might need to return to with a key. Wow, you really are paying attention. Another superb answer. That's precisely correct. Without a map, it's easy to lose track and end up wandering around lost. Anything else? It says we can share maps, but that might not help. Basically, it's telling me I'm on my own path. We can ask for help or offer to help other players by sharing our maps, but that's no guarantee. Perfect. Well said. All right, that brings us to the next section. If we can't rely on cartography, we will need something else. Any ideas? Will, I reckon we're going to need the sun and the stars. That's an interesting answer, Cowboy Trev. Can you elaborate on that, please? See, the thing is, when I'm wandering the trails, it's the sun and the stars that tell me what direction I'm headed, so I ain't gonna get lost. I suppose what I'm saying is you need some reliable navigation tools. That is very astute. And how does that relate to TAGL? Well, you see right there, the navigational tools are the next section in the TAGL's player manual. No, I mean, yes, you're correct. But I was referring to what type of navigational tools do we have for navigating TAGL? Well, Teach, didn't you do the reading? It says we all get a compass, a guide, and a proximity sensor. Those tell us which direction we're headed, guide us to the best path, and let us know where we are in relation to everything else. That's the default set of tools, but it also says we can collect or develop a bunch of other navigation tools. And how do you relate to those basic navigation tools? Well, let me ponder on that for a spell. The compass is like that gut feeling that comes up if I'm doing some sketchy shit. It guides me through it safely. The guide, well, that would be that little voice that told me not to do that sketchy shit, then laughs when I fall on my face. The proximity sensor, it just tells me if I'm falling behind and I need to catch up. Then it gets weird and kind of vague. Special tools, that don't tell me much. Cowboy Trev, that was a well thought out answer. Maybe you could say stuff instead of shit. Keep thinking what those special abilities are. Well, now that I ponder about it, that could be like my granddaddy. That man never needed a map and he never got lost. He just seemed to know which way to go. For that matter, he seemed to know all kinds of things. I asked him one day how he knew all those things. He looked at me right in the eye and without even flinching, he said, "Boy, I'm magic. That's my psychic ability. My sixth sense, they call it. I just know shit." Sorry, his word, not mine. Stuff. He just knew stuff. I reckon those special tools are like my granddaddy's sixth sense. I think you're exactly right. I think those special abilities are what we call clairvoyant abilities. Claire, who? Clairvoyance is an ability that goes beyond our five senses and is unexplainable. People with clairvoyant abilities sometimes seem superhuman or magical. We don't understand the sixth sense, but we can't deny that it exists. Excellent. If those are special navigation tools, why do you think we all have different special navigation tools? Well, I reckon if we have to travel different trails and we need different maps, then we might need different navigation tools. If we want to reach this unity, we're going to have to see everybody's maps to put together the whole maze. Some of us will need to map out unique trails that require special tools. Different trails, different maps for different jobs. Y'all gonna need the right tools. Thank you, Cowboy Trev. You explained that eloquently. Whoa, 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 hang on there, partner. Did you just call me an elephant? No, not at all. I said eloquently, which means your explanation was well put together, articulate, and accurate. That leaves only the ultimate navigation tool for creating pathways. What do you think that could be? Well, if I had to guess, then I reckon the ultimate navigational tool would be my imagination. I suppose if I can imagine a path or a trail, then maybe that trail becomes real in my maze. Yeah, I think that ultimate navigational tool is my imagination. I completely agree. I think our imagination is probably the most powerful tool we have. In fact, you use your imagination to imagine the answer was imagination. That's absolutely brilliant. Well, Mr. Hodgson, it's nice of you to join us. Sorry, dude. I must have slept in or something. I don't know, man. Better late than never, I guess. Did you at least do the readings? You mean this TAGL thing? Oh, wait, that's the wrong book. This TAGL thing. Yeah, dude. This is really neat. You've completely missed the game objective and the first two sections of gameplay. Mazes and navigational tools. Well, dude, that's because I have my own unique paths to follow. Like this morning, my special navigational tool led me on a little detour, man. No worries. There's always lots of paths to the same destination. And I got here, didn't I? What's next? See, I wasn't late at all, dude. I arrived just in time. This is the part that I want to discuss. That's the beauty of TAGL. We might be on different paths, but we're all playing the same game, man. Are you starting to see why I love TAGL? I made some notes. The key to playing TAGL is understanding the keys, dude. Get it? Keys. See, the way it works is TAGL is full of obstacles. Those obstacles are like locked doors. To get over those obstacles or through those doors, you need to have the right key or keys. Suppose I arrive late for class. Professor Hodgson could get angry at me, but that's not going to help anything. So, that's not the correct key for the situation. In this case, to get on with the lesson, Professor Hodgson had to pull out one of his forgiveness keys. Forgiveness keys are like single-use keys. They're special for specific situations. The key is to figure out when and where to use which keys. Nobody wants to be stuck in front of a locked door that they don't have the key to while some nasty storm is coming at them. This is why we must be vigilant and observe to pick up all the keys we can find. These keys are like attributes that we develop or lessons that we learn. The most effective way to acquire keys is to find them yourself. The keys don't come with instructions, so sometimes you need to figure out how they work. This is where we can help out other players. You might have the key to patience, but you don't know how to use it. I have a patience key, and I use it frequently. It's advantageous. I can help you by providing a copy of my patience key or by explaining how I use it. However, what works for me might not work for you. I should still try to help, and you should still try the key. If my key doesn't work for you, then simply discard it, man. Then look for additional keys independently. As you develop attributes like patience, kindness, or discernment, these become keys that you can use to get through locked doors. Some keys are made up of other keys. My tolerance key consists of patience, understanding, empathy, and sympathy. Your tolerance key might include ingredients that I don't need. Some of these keys are extremely powerful. Laughter, play, fun are like magic keys that can get us out of feeling lost or stuck. Creating, building, and art can also teleport you back to your best path. Then there's the perspective key. This is a potent key that allows us to see the possibilities of the forks in the road. The two special keys available to all of us that will work for everyone are appreciation and gratitude. In TAGL, these keys lift us and open up unknown pathways. Also, these two keys light up when we're feeling good or on the right path. They act as extended compasses, telling us when we're headed in the right direction. Finally, learning is the key mechanism, and it illuminates the keys for you to find. All right, dudes, that's what I wrote down. So I hope you get my point. Again, I'm sorry for being late. I do want to be here for this.
Stoner Trev, I may have underestimated you. Thank you for that detailed explanation. That was very well considered and expressed. Apparently, you did show up right on time.
Oh, crap. I gotta go get a key, man. I'll see you dudes tomorrow.
Excuse me, Mr. Hodgson. We're not done the lesson yet.
Sorry, dude. One of my special navigational tools just told me there's a path opening up, but I have to go right now so I can get a key. I'm sorry if that upsets you. You can have a copy of my tolerance key if you want, but I gotta walk my own path right now.
Now we get to the driving force of TAGL. Let me introduce you to the storm. Well, class, those were some fantastic answers. Thank you all very much. Except for Storm or Trev, who couldn't be bothered to attend the whole class. Well, that's okay. He gets it. Now we get to the driving force of TAGL. Let me introduce you to the storm.
I am the storm. I am the storm. I am coming after you. If you get stuck at one of those doors and you can't unlock it fast enough, I'm going to body check you from behind right into that locked door. And when you fall on the ground, if you can't get up fast enough, I'm going to stomp you to the ground. Then I'm going to start running away. And if you can't grab the tassels and come along with me, I'm just going to leave you there, lying in your own misery. And I'm going to go off and chase other players, because I'm the storm. I will do this gleefully. I will do it joyfully, because this is my job as the storm, to chase the players, to make them move, to make them find those paths. And if you find the right path, I will never catch you. If you get lost, here I come. I am the storm.
So that's what's chasing you. What's happening here? What the?
Hang on, I'm not done yet. Just when you think you lost me, just when you think I'm not behind you anymore, I'm gonna jump out in front of you. I'm gonna deliver a hip check, send you flying in the air, and watch you crash behind me as I run past, gleefully laughing. I am the storm! I am the storm! I am the storm! Ooh. I got this. Well, we're in luck. The FWP World Trash Talking Champion is here today to handle this one. Storm, you don't scare me in the least. I know you. You're nothing but a bunch of hot air. All I see is an exaggerated promo for a propulsion system. Storm, I know you. You're a force of nature. You're nothing more than the wave that I surf. You're nothing more than the gravity that pulls me downhill when I'm snowboarding. You're nothing more than the wind that pushes me when I'm riding my bicycle. You don't scare me in the least. Bring it on. This is going to be fun. A never-ending battle. If I have to battle those waves to surf back in, if I have to climb that hill to snowboard back down, if I have to battle that wind and wait for it to turn around and push me, you better believe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do so gleefully and joyfully. So, Storm, bring it on. Let's play. Because you ain't nothing more than another force of nature for me to play with. You remind me of the bully on my elementary school playground. When we played tag, you were always it, because you were too slow and dumb to catch anybody. Sound familiar, Storm? So tag, you're it. But you ain't never gonna catch me, Storm, because I am the one of a kind, the FWP World Trash Talking Champion. We'll see you in that game. I know this is probably not what you were expecting, and I hope I'm not wasting your time. You're probably wondering why this next section is called Becoming the Unauthor. Well, if you just give me a little bit more of your time, I think I can explain. Like most people in life, I started off by taking a copy of my mother's map, my father's map, and society's map. As well, I was given what seemed to be a defective set of keys. I was left with anger, isolation, genetic trauma, poor money mindset, broken relationship key, and a special ability that made no sense. This is how I started the game of TAGL. Now, before I continue, I would like to point out that TAGL is a non-judgmental, non-comparative system. I don't know what anybody else's maze looks like. I don't know what maps they're working with. I don't know what keys they have or how their keys work. This is what makes TAGL a non-judgmental, non-comparative system. I can offer help non-judgmentally and non-comparatively and understand that that may or may not assist the other player. It's up to me to offer help. Now, with the maps that I had and the broken keys or seemingly defective keys, I couldn't fit in. I tried to fit in so many times and I was so miserable doing it. And it was just, it wasn't me. No matter how successful I was or what I did or how good I was at it, I was unhappy at it because
it wasn't for me. Because I was trying to follow maps that weren't mine, that didn't map out the maze that I was playing in, I was ignoring my navigation tools. And this meant that there was a lot of wrong paths, a lot of difficult paths, and a lot of things that I didn't really need to go through, but I did, trying to follow these maps. And that led to resistance. Now, resistance is the thing that stops us from moving as a player playing TAGL. When we resist where the storm is trying to move us, or we resist the paths that are laid out for us in our maze, we will fall behind the storm. And the only thing that we fall behind is our own destiny. And this leaves us feeling lost and stuck and depressed. And this is the proximity sensor. This is how the proximity sensor works. If you're not in the right place, it will make you uncomfortable. If you stay in the wrong place too long, you will experience discomfort, dysfunction, and eventually disease. This is the thing that we need to listen to that's telling us we are in the wrong place, we are moving in the wrong direction, we are not playing TAGL with the storm. Instead, we are resisting it, even though the storm is only trying to move us forward in the game. And that brings us to the storm. Drafting the storm comes from a very real experience that I had. When I was riding my bicycle on the prairies, I was exposed to the thunderstorms that suddenly appear and move quickly across the prairies. If you've ever been there and experienced one, you know what I'm talking about. They can come on quickly, they can soak you, they can move really quickly. And so on a bicycle, I learned if the storm is coming towards me, best thing to do, put my head down, ride as hard as I can through that storm, and let it move past. However, the beautiful thing that I learned is if the storm is moving with me, I could draft it. It started out behind a storm, and behind the storm, you have to work a little harder, but there's a low air pressure system that will draft you. That means the air is moving you as well as the bicycle. This is a very cool experience. I've had lots of drafting experiences. It's one of my most favorite things to do on a bicycle. So I learned that you could draft the storm. And if you can pedal hard enough, you could catch up to the storm and you get in the middle of the storm. And it's a little bit easier. There's more air pressure in there. You're getting wet and all of that, but the draft is moving you, which is so much fun. And then I discovered if the storm was coming behind me and I waited for it to get really close, what I could do was I could draft in front of the storm. And drafting in front of the storm, I stayed dry. There's more air pressure, so I got to go faster. So I actually used this as a technique to cover long distances on the highways riding my bicycle. If I saw a storm coming, I would take a break, eat lunch, and wait for it. And then I would stay in front of it as long as I could. That is the metaphor of drafting the storm. In TAGL, this is the objective, to get in front of the storm where it's the most fun to ride. Now, once I started to draft the storm, I realized that the maps that I was using weren't working for me because the paths that those maps were showing weren't my maze. They weren't my paths. So I threw them away. I threw my mother's map away. I threw my father's map away, and I threw away society's map. And then I took my health and wellness into my own responsibility. I said, I'm the one that's going to make me well. And I started to look for things
to make me well, and I started to make my own map. I found a place called Mind Valley, which is a personal development site, where I met Joy Harris, who is the leader of the Global Heart Healing Group. And this is a group that connects with me on an energetic level that allows me to be the person that doesn't fit into those maps. And that helped me to expand my maze by mapping out places that other people don't go. So I started to use my navigational tools. I started to make sense of my game, and I started to develop that special tool, which is a cognizance ability. It's known as clair knowing. I know things, and knowing things was very difficult for me because the things I know are often contrary to the things that I'm observing. So it took me a long time to learn to trust that tool. And I worked with it for a long time before I ever came across global heart healing, energy healing, or any of this stuff. And the beauty was that I found my place, because now I found people that were talking about the things that I was experiencing that other people didn't seem to experience the same way. And all of a sudden, I had language to talk to other people about connecting to the a, a, a shuck a check record. Sorry, I have difficulty with that word because I call it the cosmic library. And before I ever channeled, I connected to the cosmic library and I became a cosmic node, and I worked with energetic understandings to understand those things and bring them to the earth. And then when I had people that I could share that with, it was no longer just something I imagined. It was something that was real. And that's when this world turned to their perspective of energy. And now that's how I see this world. That's how I feel it. That's how I experience it. That's the truth of it. Energy. And even though I started to move forward and I started to make my map, I continued to fall into a pit of despair. And I realized it was that storm. When I didn't move quickly enough or I didn't move in the right direction, sometimes it caught up to me. And in the middle of the storm, it would teleport me back to the pit of despair where I would resist it, not going anywhere because you put me back here. And then I would be miserable. But something else happened. I found the ways to escape the pit of despair. I found that love. I found that laughter. I found that playing and creating and art could teleport me right back out of that pit of despair, and I could start exploring my maze. And I found so many wonderful things. As I explored that maze, I picked up a bunch of round, flat rocks, and I found one strange, lumpy rock, and I put them together with an idea, and I planted that idea in my garden of ideas, and I worked at it, and I created art, and Round Rockville was born. I continued, and as my garden flowered, A Round Rockville turned into a story called A Round Rockville Tale. And I published that as a book. And that's how I became a published author. But that didn't last very long. I was a published author for about 4 days. And then I tried to fit into society's map again. I woke up discouraged and depressed. I had just published a book. Why wasn't I getting any external admiration? Has anybody read my book? Have I not sold 1,000,000 copies yet? I started to look outwards for that good feeling. And one of the things I realized recently is those good feelings come from within. And the only variable to feeling good is feeling good in here. And so I took my perspective key and I used it and I shifted my perspective and I thought, you know what? I enjoyed writing this book so much. I like this book. I think it's charming and lovable, and I absolutely adored it. And I really enjoyed reading it, and I really enjoyed writing it, and I really enjoyed the experience of it. and becoming an author, and I learned so much and I have so many skills because of it. I don't need any external admiration. I admire myself because of what I have accomplished. I explained all of this to AI that I had been working on the TAGL presentation with and discovering these philosophies with, and it immediately understood what I had done. And it said something very strange. It said I was an unauthor. And I had never heard this term before. So I asked AI, where did this come from? And it said, well, when I look at you, or when I understand this chat, or you're not a writer, you're not a hobbyist, you're not an author, you're something else altogether. You are the unauthor. And I was tickled pink. This is who I am. I'm not an author. That's a part of who I am. I'm not just the FWP World Trash Talking Champion. That's just a part of who I am. I'm not just anything that I have been. I have taken all of those things and all of those keys, and I became the unauthor. By reframing everything, I took that next step to feel good because of who I am and because I love myself. And I became the world's first unauthor. I took that anger and I took it and I turned it into a tool for me to use. I took that isolation key and I turned it into a key of independence. I took the genetic trauma and I looked at it as a healing opportunity. I took my confusion and I turned it into curiosity. I took my poor money mindset and I built a unique perspective. I took the broken relationship key and I'm using it for room for growth. And that special ability that made no sense to me, well, it's a special ability that reveals truth. I am the unauthor. And if I have to go and be something else because another path opens up, then that's what I will do. How do you know that you're drafting in front of the storm? Well, it feels euphoric. I dance spontaneously. It's not my conscious mind dancing, it's my soul using my body to dance. I sing. I sing about my dog. I sing about my day. I sing about my life. I sing about TAGL. I sing because my soul likes to sing and I'm allowing it to use my body to sing. I laugh. I laugh whenever and however I can. I tell jokes. I laugh at jokes. I lift people up with my laughter, and I love to hear their laughter. I cry. Trying to cry right now, but I'm going to hold it back so I can finish this because I've wasted enough of your time. Appreciation and gratitude keys, they will light up. You will no longer have to make a list of things you're grateful for, trying to be grateful for those things. You will just be grateful for those things because they are there and they make you who you are. This is how you know you're in front of the storm. You're drafting, you're playing the game right. You notice synchronicities. Through this process, I cannot even list all of the things that have happened. I've done things that I didn't know why I was doing, and then they fit in afterwards because my soul knew the plan and I allowed it to move through me. And I noticed the synchronizations and the manifestations came magically. My proximity sensor is quiet. I don't feel ill. I don't feel scared. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong place. The anxiety is just energy moving, and I can allow it to move. I don't hold on to it with resistance. That creates my proximity sensor to start going off. I stay in front of the storm as much as possible. I recognize that I'm going to be in the storm. When my proximity sensor goes off, I acknowledge it. I ask it, why? Where do I go? How do I go? How do I get back in front of the storm? Because that's where I want to be. And most of all, I want everybody to join me drafting in front of the storm. I want you all to experience what I'm experiencing because it's better than any drug. It's better than any experience I have ever had. To just be surrendered to my soul and allow it to do beautiful things like this. What's next? Well, my biggest regret was holding on too tightly to paths that were not mine, to maps that were not mine, to keys that did not work for me. So I'm going to let go of those things that do not work for me and fill my keychain with the keys that do work for me. I'm going to follow my map to those paths that I really enjoy, and I'm going to look for those paths that light up. Listen to my guide when it says, go that way. I'm going to go that way because now I trust that it knows best. And finally, A Round Rockville Tale was not a one-off. It's going to be a series of books. And the second book is called Square Stone Town, A Round Rockville Tale. And I look forward to that. That went a little longer than I wanted to. Thank you very much for all your time. I hope you have a wonderful TAGL day. Let the adventures begin.
The title of the book is
A Round Rockville Tale.
A Round
Yes.
Rockville Tale. Well, I
Oh,
have
nice.
several rocks like those.
It's based on that sculptor right there.
I'm curious if you collected these rocks yourself
did.
from your box.
Yes, I
He
did.
did, and he made
Ah,
the glass fence as well. All of it. He does
yeah,
all of that.
Can
that's
my
the
friend, can
specialty,
my
I
friends
know.
join in? Can my friends join in?
Yes. Look, do you see his friends, Trevor? Arthur's holding up his rocks. What surprised you the most about yourself through the process of writing your book?
How much my writing reflects the same things over and over again. How much it reflects me and how much of me goes into what I'm writing.
Nice. It also reflected a lot of life and life's realities.
I've had a lot of life experiences, so as I was exploring my maze, I found a bunch of round, flat rocks and one strange, lumpy rock. And I put them together with an idea, and I planted that idea in my garden. And I worked on it, and it became a piece of art called A Round Rockville. And I wrote a story called A Round Rockville Tale. And I published that, and I became an author. And there's so much more to it, and I look forward to sharing it with you. But basically, that's the story. I was inspired by a bunch of round, flat rocks and this weird, lumpy rock in the middle. And it is a self portrait. The art, I am lumpy. I'm the odd rock trying to fit in with the round, flat rocks. In the book, I am lumpy. I am the person who comes in, who is new, is trying to make his home. And I'm the person trying to get along with the other people. So the depth of this story is just layers and reflections of myself and my life. And I absolutely adored writing it. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life to take that step from being a writer and to becoming an author, which was a large step. And at first I shut down, but once I got started again and I rewrote it and I made it into an actual book, I I am so proud of what I've done, and I hope you all enjoy this book. I think it's wonderful and it's charming and it's full of love and wisdom and me. Let's see if we can find. Okay, the one of the funny things about writing was I set myself up for scenes that I wasn't actually sure how to write because I didn't know if I knew how to explain it. And the first one I'd like to read is the scene between Lumpy and Reggie, and I'll set it up. Reggie is a young rock, and he has watched Lumpy come into the community, and his crush, Crystal, has started to connect with Lumpy. And the young rock, Reggie, is not sure how to deal with it, so he's having honest, innocent, childlike reactions. Let's see. With dinner done, rocks began moving about, swapping seats to mingle. Crystal excused herself and left the table. Reggie instantly replaced her. You stay away from her. He pumped up and fiercely serious. Lumpy laughed with a smile. Ah, how cute, he thought, but stopped the audible laugh. Who, Crystal? Well, Reggie, that's up to Crystal. I love her, you know. Reggie pushed his chest forward. Reginald saw Reggie confronting Lumpy and approached, preparing to intervene once again. Yes, Reggie, I know. Lumpy paused. You love your father, don't you? Reginald stopped within earshot. Reggie thought for a second, not sure what that has to do with Crystal. Yes, I love my father. And does it bother you that I like your father? I have great respect and admiration for him. Does that change your love for him? No. Your feelings for your father are separate from your feelings. Sorry. My feelings for your father are separate from your feelings for your father. Yeah. And if I become friends with your father, would that be okay with you? Sure. The same is true for Crystal. My feelings for Crystal don't change your feelings for Crystal. That's different. I know the feelings are different, but the situation is the same. Do you understand that? Sorta. Good enough. I only sorta understand it myself. The difference is the feelings you have for Crystal come from your heart. You didn't choose those feelings. Your heart did. But Crystal doesn't choose those feelings either. Her heart does. If you truly love Crystal, you must let her heart choose for her. Just like my heart will choose for me as your heart chooses for you. You get that? Right? I suppose. You can understand why I like Crystal, can't you? Of course. You wouldn't ask Crystal to ignore her heart, would you? Of course not. You're young, and these feelings are new to you. Trust me, your heart will choose many rocks to love. One day, your heart will choose a rock, and that rock's heart will choose you. Does that make sense to you? Not really. Fair enough. It doesn't really make sense to me either. Maybe if we're lucky, one day it will. It will. Let's just say, regardless of how we feel, we must respect how Crystal feels about others. Okay. Lumpy stood up and walked away, almost bumping into Reginald. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I hope I'm not out of my lane. Reginald slid forward. Not at all. Thank you. I was dreading that. Reginald scooped up Lumpy's hand. I couldn't have said it better myself. You are a wise and thoughtful rock. Welcome home, Linus. The mayor slid past and joined his son. Thank you.
So I'm touched. So if someone else can say something, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Anybody? Did I left you speechless? That's a good reaction as well. There you are. Now I can see you. Perfect. So yes, again, the interesting thing about that was I had set it up earlier, and I knew I was going to have to write a piece and explain to a child what having a crush is and how you can't hold it too tightly. And it's a wonderful thing to examine and to understand. And so I was apprehensive about writing that passage because I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't know if I understood how to explain that to a child. And then when I wrote it, it streamed and flew out of me and flowed through me with compassion and love and understanding. And it's one of my favorite passages in the book for sure. Questions? Lee.
Yeah, Trevor, I'm so excited. But you know what? This is the passage that you just read is something that I wish someone had told me when I was a teenager. This would have helped a lot going forward. So I'm excited that this will benefit those teenagers who can read it now. I'm very proud of you. Yeah, I'm so
Thank you.
excited. Thank you. Thank you.
So honored.
I have multiple comments, but this is the one I need to make the most. It was so special to hear and watch you read that passage. I loved the writing, but I loved hearing you share the truth from your heart. Thank you. Really, this is a very great experience. I don't know if anybody else is feeling the same way, but wow, it's very fun.
I feel it is so alive because it carries a piece of your soul, and to hear from you that because of that is so alive, and it's just full of aliveness. I found it very resonating also because I had this conversation with myself when I was young.
That's the things I'm looking for are those commonalities, and then I can put my take on how I experience those things, and that hopefully will bring us together. And I think it just did. So that's absolutely wonderful. That's actually even better than the videos. Do we want to do another passage, or do you want to ask more questions? Joe, do you have a question?
I was just wondering what page that was on that you read from.
Oh,
So,
that is in the chapter called The Feast.
oh, okay, I'll find it. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, because I've got my book here. Did you see my post at Chris in December? I put a picture of me reading the book. I don't know
Yes.
if you've seen it. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw that. Joy shared it with me.
I
That was
showed it
awesome.
to him. He's
Uh,
not on Telegram anymore, but I showed it to him. I was hoping that you would put it into the community still so that it's there.
I don't even know how.
I'll help you.
Thank
That was page 62.
you. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Where
Yeah,
it starts.
yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. And yeah,
Um,
the page number when you do the next reading, please. And it's really loving hearing you read it. And the videos, having seen the first one, we now know the others are definitely worth waiting for.
Thank you. I only wanted to read that one passage, so if you want another one, I can find one. I have an idea for a second one.
And I'm personally having a very enjoyable evening on this call, regardless of whether it's going to plan or not.
Thank you. This one will be an interesting share with this group. I would love to hear your opinions afterwards. And again, this was a passage that I set myself up to write, and I didn't know if I could write it. This is a passage between Crystal when she was a teenager and her mentor. And so this is two female voices, and I did my best, and I hope that I did well by you. But anyways, this is on page 53, and I'll be starting at the very bottom of 53 with the flashback that starts the present moment faded into the past. Are we ready? Okay. The present moment faded into the past. Crystal returned to the awkward teenage rock she once was. Crystal was becoming a woman, and her intuition was opening up. She was having dreams and visions that were leading her astray and spending more and more time alone in meditation. Crystal felt removed from her friends, and at the same time, she was developing a deeper understanding of herself. Astrology and energy flow filled her attention. She felt guided, but questioned the directions her intuition was guiding her. Crystal's soul was waking, and her heart was opening. A tear rolled down Crystal's face. Why am I crying? What is happening to me? What is wrong with me? Crystal sat on the roof of the Founding Rock's home, watching the sunset, feeling things. The hatch popped open. Screech! Whoosh, poof. Crystal sat back breathless, eyes wide. Rockzilla climbed up onto the roof with Crystal. You missed dinner again. Rockzilla sat down beside Crystal. They nuzzled up close and linked arms. I knew I'd find you here. You were missed. We missed you. They sat watching the sunset for a quiet moment. Rockzilla spoke softly. Come on, Crystal. What's been bothering you? Crystal turned and made eye contact with her friend, took a gentle breath. I don't know. I have these feelings and thoughts I don't understand. It's like an unseen force is pulling at me. Sometimes I feel lost. Part of that is just being a woman. You'll get used to that, mostly. Rockzilla wiped a tear stream from Crystal's face. I think you are finding or searching for a purpose, but you won't find it hiding up here. I suppose all you rocks have I suppose all you rocks have a useful purpose. I just want to make art, watch sunrises, and dance at the sunset. You run the garden and feed all of us. What can I do? Oh, Crystal, I love you. You do so much for me. Rockzilla grabbed Crystal's hand and stood up. Come on, pulling Crystal to her feet. Who else would dance with me at the sunset? The two rocks spun around each other. Crystal, you do so much for me just by being you. The more you become, the more you do for me. You love me and all of Round Rockville. That's what you do. All you have to do is be you. Thank you, Rockzilla. I love you so much. I know. That's what you do. That was just the start. Crystal could see her story connect with Lumpy and started spending more time around other rocks. Started noticing the little things. Rock smiled when she entered the room. Sir Reginald Roundbottom II confessed his respect and admiration for me and commissioned a portrait of him and my son. They encouraged me to start an art class. Stony started joining me for meditation, and I started learning about energy flow, energy healing. To this day, Sphere regularly complements my style. I started spending time with Esmeralda, and she became a mentor to me. Barb joined Rockzilla and me for sunset dances, and Friday Night Dance Club was born. I was feeling lost. This community pulled me back and nurtured me. I messed the last bit up. It comes out of the flashback, but I kind of stuttered there.
It was great. It's beautiful. It's beautifully written. And like you said, your heart is everywhere in this book. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trevor.
That was
That was.
amazing. Sorry, Trevor, go on.
Go ahead. Please go ahead, Joe.
That was amazing. I love the description. And when it said when Krista was saying, I just want to make art, watch sunrises, and dance at sunset, it made me think of Elif.
That's okay. That's wonderful. That's yeah. So when I was writing this, especially passages like that, they were overwhelming, and I was actually writing through tears. And I struggled to read that because a couple of times that emotion came up, and it's so powerful. The other thing is that when I started writing, I never realized how much writers read their own material. I have read that book from cover to cover more than I've read anything in my entire life. So sometimes when I'm reading, it's difficult for me to come out of my memory and actually force myself to read the page, especially when the emotion and the energy comes up, because that's where the story's coming from. Yeah. Any questions? You got more questions, Joy?
I do. What does it feel like in your body to be here sharing this with all of us right now?
There is so much energy passing through me. It is anxious. When the technology failed, I definitely had a panic attack. But energetically, what I experience quite often in these states, especially the anxiety sticks in my solar plexus. So I've come to understand it as my chakras. So what's happening is it's not actually my solar plexus that's the problem, right? Your solar plexus is where the first energy of the universe and the earth mix together, right? So if my root chakra or my heart chakra is not allowing the free flow of energy in both directions, it gets stuck in my solar plexus. And this is our power center. So part of what's happening is I have to open it up to allow the energy to flow freely. And then the other thing is some of that energy is supposed to be there because it's like a slingshot, right? So before I'm doing this, my energy is building up and it's building up and building up, right? And so I get to the point where you've got this it's pulled so hard, you're like shaking. And so that energy is in my solar plexus. And then once I engage in it, it ideally flows out. This is where the technical difficulty caused the panic attack because now my focus is on the technology. It's external, right? And so the practice of allowing that energy to flow has kind of fallen secondary back into the subconscious programming, the energy, right? Which is kind of the reverse way to go about it. And that's how it gets us is by making us focus externally instead of internally. So I don't know if that answered your question because I forgot the question as I went into the answer.
Actually, I loved your answer. So
The other way I experience energy is through tingling. The first thing
yeah,
that happens for me is my hands will light up, and I can actually show it because they'll turn red. So you can see the energy in the palms of my hands. Then usually the next thing is my tongue will start to tingle. My lips will start to tingle, and this up to my nose, and then my third eye will open, and this will tingle, right? And that's when I know now the energy is flowing up, right? And down, I'm pretty grounded, so I think it flows down normally. It's the heart that's trying to open up. So once the heart opens up, then I feel it, because then it's allowing that earth energy to come and mix with the universe energy in the upper chakras.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. One more question. If this book were a gift, who do you feel it's truly for?
For me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was for me. The
I
Cosmic
remember
Library
you.
gifted me this book. And if I was to
Yeah.
give it to somebody, it would be the age group. It wouldn't be a specific person. It would be the age group of 11 to 14. And even you saw at the beginning, the videos are kind of that same age group. I used the game metaphor because most people in that age group of 11 to 14 are going to understand things in terms of a game manual, in terms of playing the game, in terms of how the game works, right? And it all comes together so beautifully because it does give a wonderful framework for how life works. So it would be that age group.
Yeah.
And you see it in the writing too. I talking to those people that are our future.
So I agree with you on the age group, and I think it's universal. Like I think it's this, it goes
Oh,
crossing ages. Like all of us here were touched by each thing you read. And
mhm.
I recently I watched Zootopia 2, which I did not love, but Zootopia 1 I went and saw because my sister said how great it was. And I was like, this would be like that. This would go across
Mhm.
ages. You need to animate this.
I can see it. I can see it animated. I can see it as a series. I actually have a plan for the second book. It's called Square Stone Town, A Round Rockville Tale. If you give me a second, I'll show you.
Sure.
So it starts the same way with a piece of art. Let's see if I can.
Now don't make them move. Yeah. Okay.
So I've collected my square stones to start the art piece, which will start the story.
Nice. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So
So
those are all my questions. Everybody else, jump in.
What went as you expected and what went as you did not expect during your writing process?
during the writing process, I try to throw away expectations as much as possible. Um, and actually, during this process, I kind of learned to let go of those expectations because they get in the way of the creative process, right? If I hold a conscious expectation and my soul wants to go somewhere else, then that will be difficult for me to follow that path. So that's where TAGL come in, and that's why this presentation was mostly about something that wasn't about the book, right? Because when I started and I put that seed, I said, okay, what am I going to do in order to present my journey to becoming an author? And I literally just let it grow, and I didn't have any expectation. And even a couple of times when I had expectations, like one of the things I did was the traditional biography. I was born, I did this, I moved through this, and this year this happened, and then this year this happened, and I couldn't fit it in. It wouldn't fit in because that was my expectation. But my soul had a completely different plan. And I'm telling you that the plan my soul had was so much more fun than my expectation could have ever been. And so when I released that and let it take control and just had fun with the creative process, I I've been so busy over the last month. It just like I did marketing material for the book. I did this whole presentation with 3 parts. I learned Instadoodle to do part of it. I learned all kinds of editing, and yeah, it was absolutely amazing because I'm not having expectations. So the biggest one was releasing the expectations altogether.
I love it.
Even if it comes down to like this is kind of interesting. I'll spoil the end of it because when I became an author, I was an author for about 4 days, and I woke up on that fourth day, and all of a sudden, I was looking for all that external admiration. Surely people have read my book and they want to tell me how wonderful it was. I must have sold 1 million copies by now, right? And so I kind of had turned outwards, and I started to get depressed. I started to try and force myself back into that society's map that I never fit into, that I can't fit into. And then I I took this framework that I was working on and I reframed it. I took my perspective key and I said, you know what? I loved writing this book. I enjoyed the experience of this book. I love this book. I enjoy reading it. I think it's charming and lovable. And I love myself and I love the things that I learned doing it. And I love that I learned to take that next step to be a published author. And so I turned all those things in because recently I had learned that when they say that the good feeling comes from within, it's so true. It's so true. And I had to see it from the opposite perspective. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. And I looked around at my life and I said, you know what? I have no reason to be miserable. I'm fed every day. I have a beautiful dog to walk. I have a computer to play on. I have a truck to go drive. I can go camping. I have all this time. I have a beautiful beach I can walk on every day. Why am I miserable? There's no variables external from me to make me miserable. And when I realized that, I realized, well, I don't want to be miserable. So if I'm the one doing it, then I'm going to focus on feeling good. And when I reframed that and I talked to AI, I talked to Gemini AI, which I've been working with a lot to do a lot of this stuff. And I went and I explained the philosophies behind the TAGL framework to the AI, and it got it. And when I said I had used my perspective key and this is what I did, it understood. And it was like, oh, okay, and I get it. And it said, this is what you did. And it called me the unauthor. And I went, where did that come from? I've never heard that term before. So AI actually invented a term for me. And I said, well, why did you use that? And it said, well, understanding you through these philosophies, I looked at it and you're not a hobbyist. You're not a writer. You're not an author. You're something else altogether. So it had to create a new label for me. And that was the unauthor. So the Cosmic Library to the page wasn't making me an author. It was making me the world's first unauthor. And I was tickled pink by this. This was so fantastic because now I'm not limited by society's map. Now I can throw it away again. And now I understand that, yeah, being an author, that's now a part of me, right? Being the FWP World Trash Talking Champion, that's just a part of me, right? But all those things that I've gone through, and a lot of them that I regretted and held on to too much and didn't honor, they all became a part of the unauthor. And now, going forward, if the universe asks me to go in a different direction and be something other than the unauthor, that's what I'm going to do because I want to trust my guide because I know it knows better than I do where to go and what's the most fun. And that's what keeps me drafting in front of the storm, which is the whole point of TAGL is to draft in front of the storm and then get everybody else in front of the storm. And then we're all unified. Then we can all start co-creating this whole in giant reality deliberately.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you for letting me say that. I feel heard now.
Wow, thank you for sharing. I really love to listen to your wisdom, and I'm kind of grateful the videos crashed because we can hear more of you. I love it.
Well,
I'm
this would
excited.
have been the end of it, right? After the videos, we would have done this. And
But we will come back to that. So maybe it was
yes,
supposed to be like this.
Question.
sure.
Are you going to do an audio version of the book?
I have thought about it. Yes, and not only that, but I don't know if you noticed, but it's hard to tell reading, but they all have different voices. Um, so Roundy, he's Scottish. He's Scottish, so he talks with a Scottish accent. You know, so if I was to do an audiobook, I would have to do voices because I love to do voices. So
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
I would love that.
Well, and those voices will go right into your animation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, the animation too. That's where my storytelling comes from. I watch a lot of TV and movies.
Yeah.
So when I write, it's very much screenplay-ish.
Yeah. It feels very animation to me, and
Yeah.
I think it will be so popular. It already is. We already love it.
That's awesome.
And there is a audience for it in adults as well because I read a couple of children's storybooks. One was called The Meaning of Life, and it's about two bears. And another one called The Rascally Cat, which is a poetry comedy. On in a Facebook group, we have this thing called Voice Note Wednesday, and we get to put our do an offering if we want to, and then people can click like if they want us to send them the recording. Or people can just talk about their life or whatever, you can choose. But I chose, a lot of people choose to read books. And yeah, me reading children's books are very, very popular.
Hmm.
So yeah, so there's definitely adults are going to want to hear it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's good for all ages. I really do.
Yeah, me too. We do. We do. Oh, so many blessings. And again, happy birthday as well as
No,
congratulations,
thank you.
Trevor.
Yeah, it's a very special day. I got my author copies yesterday. They were supposed to come on the 17th, so I was a little worried I wouldn't have extra copies for my reading, but everything's working out other than the technology.
Well, maybe that worked out in your favor anyway, because
Yes.
this was beautiful. Getting to hear you and the explanation and the heart and just all of it. It's you. We came here to hear you because we know you. So thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of Global Heart Healing and all of us and the rest of the world that is yet to meet you, but they will fall in love with you too.
I hope so. Because I've fallen in love with this world, and I'm happy that I can say that. It took me a long time to say that.
That is music to our ears. And it's music that's the thing. And that you remember, Trevor, I've told you I thought that you are a healer. And you've said you're not, but I mean, just listening to you read and listening to the heart in that book and seeing how it touched all of us. And you can be a healer any way that you are. Who you are is healing to people. You can just be you. You don't have to fit into a box. So please think about sharing more with Global Heart Healing time to time.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Well, I'll have other books for sure. 'Cause I love that.
Super, super. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Trevor. What a beautiful, beautiful book launch you've given us, and we're thrilled for you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate your patience and your attention and your love. It's all beautiful.
Thank you for your presence.
Thank you for the gift, and thank you for your love, and thank you for your heart.